a modern podcast where Chris and Mike talk about TV, movies, superheroes, and everything in between. It's time for Superhero Slate.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name's Chris Dillard.
And my name's Mike Royer.
And on today's show, we talk about the Ant-Man image that we got today, Gotham's Joker, Deadpool, Star Wars, and that big Spider-Man news you've been hearing about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but first, something, me and Mike went and saw a movie this weekend, not together.
No, unfortunately, we're separated by 2,000 miles.
At least 2,000 miles, but if I would have spent Valentine's Day with any man, it would have been Mike.
You would have had to dredge through quite a bit of snow, from what I'm hearing, just to get to me. Me to get to you.
Yeah, definitely. There, snow, weather, winter. Winter hits February. Whatever. It happens. We
got the Santa Ana winds that kicked up over here, which is blowing us a bunch of like warm air, so it feels like summer right now.
Oh, lucky. We saw Kingsmen: The Secret Service. I've been pushing for this movie. It's on my top 5 list of this year.
Yes, it was.
From our first episode. So if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to our first episode. And I saw it. Mike just saw it today, this morning. It's fresh in his mind.
Totally fresh. I just got back from the film.
Great. So I saw it. So we're gonna give you a spoiler-free verdict.
Yeah, and I believe this is our first official movie review on the slate. So I think if we happen to let any spoilers slip, we'll make sure that we bleep it in post. But hopefully that won't happen.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm just gonna give you a little history. Kingsmen: The Secret Service is based on a graphic novel called The Secret Service Kingsmen. It's backwards. I don't know why. By Mark Miller, acclaimed writer of The Ultimates and Marvel Civil War. So people are familiar. And it's an over-the-top spy action movie. And when I say over-the-top, I mean over-the-top.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Mike can agree a little bit. I didn't expect it to be so over-the-top.
I mean, I have like so many things that I want to say. So I want to hear what you thought about the movie.
I had a great time. I'm going to be honest. Yeah. I was in the theater. It's rated R, so but somehow there was like a group of kids in our theater.
Oh.
It was kind of dumb, but at the same time, like normally that gets to me. I'm a movie purist. I want no distractions. I want to sit there and watch the movie.
Yeah, I actually specifically thought about you because we had a guy a couple seats down from us who was munching on his something gummy bears, and we kept hearing the crinkling of his package. I was just like, oh my god, Chris would be murdering this guy right now.
Yeah, so I was so enthralled with this movie that I didn't even let children or food bother me.
Oh, awesome.
It was just I expected action and spy stuff, but I didn't expect it to be this. It's run of the mill, but it's a twist on the run of the mill spy stuff. I would liken it to if you've seen Shoot 'Em Up, the movie with Clive Owen.
Yes, I've seen Shoot 'Em Up. Very good. I like that.
Shoot 'Em Up meets James Bond. And for that reason, I love the movie. My girlfriend who went with me, she loved the movie. We had a good time. What did you think, Mike?
Oh, man. So I really didn't know too much about this film. You seem to have looked into it a lot more because, it was your anticipated film. And, just to start this off, my least anticipated film of the year, Jupiter Ascending, came out a week ago. And I think we all know how that film turned out. So I think we're both spot on right now with our lists, where I thought this movie was phenomenal. I mean, this is kind of the same experience I had going into Days of Future Past a little bit, where my expectations weren't necessarily low, but I just didn't have any. Like, I didn't really know much about this movie. I saw a little bit of a clip that you shared on Comic UI of a specific fight scene in a bar, and I was really intrigued by the action in it. So going into the movie, I was just like, okay, well, at least I'm going to get some good action, and just the movie kicks off like it's just great. It's so over the top and I just loved how campy it was, and it was just so much fun. I had so much fun with it. I think this is going to be a great franchise. I don't know 100% how the graphic novel / comic is structured, but I would assume that they're looking to turn this into a franchise. I thought it was great. I want to see more of it for sure.
It kind of opened up a big world, and they only gave us a nice slice of it.
Yeah.
What I would say here is, Colin Firth, known as the original Mr. Darcy in, the Pride and Prejudice movie and Love Actually, romantic comedy guy, right? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, did he blow it out of the water with his fight scenes? I tell you what, near the end of the second act, his fight scene.
Oh, I know exactly.
I'm not going to give it away.
Yeah, we can't give it away.
This made it the whole movie worth it. I laughed hysterically the whole time. I was having so much fun.
It is 100% the best use of the song Freebird I've ever heard in my entire life. So when you guys are in the theater, and because you're going to go see this movie, because we're both recommending it to you right now, when you start to hear Freebird, just prepare yourself for probably the best action scene of the entire year. And I'm saying that even knowing Ultron is coming out, even knowing Star Wars is coming out, just, oh man, the way that this movie just put some movements together, it was just fascinating. I loved it.
I tell you what, this is probably going to go down as the most excited I've ever been in a podcast for Superhero Slate.
Yeah.
And that's a call out to Quentin for getting the name right.
Yeah.
Again, because he's busting my balls. But I said the exact same thing. This is the best use of Freebird I've ever heard. There's at the end of the movie, they use the classical music to celebrate the end of the film. Mm-hmm. Mike knows what I'm talking about. There's a certain phone call per se that goes out, and you'll know when you see it. I'm not gonna give it away, but the way they integrated music into this, Colin Firth's action, like he's an action star. Like I would put that above Liam Neeson in Taken.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing to take away from this movie is it's not afraid to go there. And I think the reason why it's not is I think this is a big return to the rated R film.
Yes.
This movie 100% would not be as good if it was PG-13. You can see all the places where they would have stopped or they would have pulled back or they where the
there would have been a cut, and this goes that extra 5 seconds that you need to make that rated R.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just I really, really hope this doesn't end up being an Edge of Tomorrow where everyone's talking about how great it is, but no one's going to see it. I want this movie to do very, very, very well because I want to see another one, and I think this just sets up maybe a precedent where every February, every Valentine's Day, we just get a killer rated R action flick. I think this sets up Deadpool next year perfectly.
Yeah, I agree. Total worldwide, Kingsman has made almost $80 million in its first weekend.
I don't know what the budget is, but I would
$81
assume...
million.
Oh, look, that's enough. It's because it's going to make money worldwide. It's going to make money in the next couple weeks, so that's good.
Yeah, that's our first weekend. I tell you, like you said, this is the opening of these rated, like comeback of the rated R film on Valentine's Day, because you have your 50 Shades of Grey stupid stuff, and then you have this, and I tell you what, everyone I know, like for Valentine's Day, everyone I know, like as a couple, was like more excited to go see Kingsman than 50 Shades of Grey, and it was just it was everything I wanted and a little more.
I agree 100%. This is kind of the downside of being it so fresh in your mind. I haven't had too much time to reflect on it, but I think the only downside, if I could even consider it a downside, is if you look at the first half of the film compared to the last half of the film, I feel like if I want a sequel, I want it to feel more like the last half of the film. I feel like it just kind of gets I don't want to say it grows on you, but it just kind of sets into the film that you love and you want it to be in the second half. It's not like the first half is like a giant origin story or anything like that, but I don't know, maybe the first half of the film being slightly slower paced just makes the last half of the film just seem more insane. The film isn't necessarily short. I think it runs near. I think it was like 139 minutes.
Yeah, it's a little over 2 hours.
Yeah, so it's not like an in and out 90-minute action flick. I mean, it was just great. I mean, it was a total surprise out of left field. I love knowing that hopefully in the future there's actually films I can look forward to at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I agree with that. And having a little more time to reflect on this, I agree with you. I agree that they cut out the introduction, like the origin stories of everything. They give you what you need to know, and they kind of go on. But at the same time, it is a story. It evolves the main character of Eggsy. He goes, from a street level thug to the spy, so to speak. And it's not an easy journey. It's not like, everything's handed to him as he goes.
Yeah, I mean, and you can totally see how this character at parts of the film really needs to stand alone. He doesn't really have necessarily a supporting team all the time, and he can carry the film. I didn't catch the name of the actor who plays Eggy, as some people called him in the film, but he was great. I mean, he has this charisma that really shines through in the final act of the film. I mean, the last shot before the credits rolls is just hilarious. I mean, it's just a perfect example of they went there, and it's just great. I love that this was rated R. I love that they didn't try to make it PG-13 to maybe get some more kids to go see it. I want to see this franchise.
Yeah, Matthew Vaughn, we've seen him do really, really great stuff. He did, X-Men First Class. And this feels a lot like First Class in kind of that manner as well. So if you like First Class, you're going to love this. And that's really about all I got left to say on it, without ruining anything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is just...
Because you could talk about it all day.
Oh, yeah. I could talk about this for like an hour, but we'd have to get into spoilers and stuff like that. We don't want to do that. You guys just need to go see it. Guys, girls, sneak in your children. Oh, maybe not. Just go see it. It's great.
Yeah, definitely. So that's I plan to write a spoiler-free review on Comic UI this week. Hopefully sooner than later. With the snow, hopefully keeping me locked inside, I'll get it done. But at the same time, that's one for you, Mike. You predicted Jupiter Ascending would be horrible, and I predicted Kings would be awesome, and we're both 1 for 1.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely have to see how the score lines up at the end of the year.
And it's probably Mark Hamill's second greatest film of the year.
Oh yeah,
just to throw that out there.
Yeah. Well, is he credited? I didn't know he was going to be in the film. I thought it was a surprise when I saw him.
No, he's in the trailers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought I was pretty surprised when I saw him too, and he puts on a little bit of his Gotham Joker voice, just a little bit. You get a little bit of that in there.
Yeah. So go see it. We love it.
Oh yeah, go see it. Now I don't know how we transition out of this.
Too
hype.
We are too hype. So let's go to some more hype. All right. So Ant-Man's coming out this July, and I mean, there's just so little known about this movie that all we have is hype. And for that, we have 2 bits of news. First, we have a screenshot of concept art showing Ant-Man. It looks like he's on a vent overlooking a server room. I know that's a server room.
Yes, it does look particularly like a server room.
And he's got like an army of ants around him, and they're all looking at these vents, and he's in the middle, and obviously talking and controlling these ants. So it kind of shows the scale and kind of like the visual look that this movie's going to have, where everything looks like a big dystopian city around him, but it's normal to us, but he's just so small. And I like that. I like that look. How do you take that look, Mike? Looking at that picture.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool to see how far they're going to go with the insects in the film. We only have one trailer so far, and we see him riding an insect. That's going to be the biggest stretch for this character. I think an audience could pretty easily get on board with a man that shrinks. And, who knows, maybe possibly in the future films, or maybe even the Avengers film, maybe he even grows, gets a little giant man going. But I think getting the bug control is going to be the thing that might be a little iffy. But I think the concept art's pretty cool. He's going to be controlling these bugs. I would assume that when he's interacting with these guys, there's got to be some humor involved. I feel like it's going to be hard to take too seriously that he's commanding an army of ants, but hopefully it'll transition well on screen.
I think I'm honestly, like, they're putting love and care into this movie. It may not seem like it, but like Marvel isn't. They're just chucking out properties, and I can say so because we're only getting 2 movies this year. So I think they're putting a lot of love and talent behind this film, and these concept art pieces keep continuing to show that. They're gonna play a new visual style with Ant-Man, and I'm really excited to see how it translates to film, like you said.
Yeah. And if you guys want to check out the concept art, make sure you go check out the show notes on the website. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it definitely looks like a server room controlling these little ants. I think it'll be cool to see the scale. It'll be like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids on crack.
That's true. Also with Ant-Man, before I forget here, they revealed new Lego sets for the final battle. Oh. And this is just rumor because toys don't always match up with the movies, right? But that Ant-Man and Hank Pym, both Scott Lang and Hank Pym, will show up in the final battle in separate Ant-Man suits.
I guess we'll have to see if the Legos hold true or not.
It definitely. I'm gonna put this up as a big rumor for now, but at the same time, they show like they have different suits, so we kind of see an evolution of the original Hank Pym suit to the Scott Lang suit, and Yellow Jacket in Lego form looks pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I could see this maybe this extra Ant-Man maybe as more of a little bit of fan service. Maybe in the film we don't get to see Hank Pym as Ant-Man. Maybe he just touts like an older suit or something that he never put on, or maybe he used to wear when he was younger. So maybe they just decided to throw that in a Lego set just for the fans.
I'll tell you right now. There's an Ant-Man Prelude comic book. It's a two-parter. We talked about Prelude comics last week, and he does put on the suit, but he's not a fighter. Is what you find out. He doesn't want to put on the suit, but they have to do it to extract this person out of like a prison camp of not World War II, but post World War II.
Man, I mean, until these Prelude comics get into like extraordinarily heavy circulation, even though they're considered canon, I just like to ignore them.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you can feel free to, but I'll definitely tell you, I have one called Fury's Big Week. It's 5 issues that ties all the Marvel Phase 1 movies together, that tells you how each thing connects in a little more detail than the movies could show you. And they're definitely worth, if you see them on a comic book stand or like maybe in the 50-cent bin at a store, pick them up. They're just 2 issues usually, part 1 and part 2. They're not extraordinary, but like this actually introduced to us to an older Peggy Carter in the comic.
Oh, okay.
So I that means an older Howard Stark, the version that we saw in Iron Man 2, who are both supposed to be in Ant-Man. So I'm excited to see if they actually put those characters in the movie, like reports have said. That's just my thing on that.
Well, I guess we just have to wait until we hear more. I mean, I'm excited for the film. I know it might sound like I'm skeptical, which I am. But I have no reason not to trust Marvel yet, so. Yeah.
Speaking of, we'll go on to our next thing here. Is something I've not seen. I've not watched the show Gotham. I heard really bad stuff from the get-go, so I just kind of avoided it.
I haven't heard anything particularly bad myself. I watched the pilot. It seemed very piloty to me, whereas like usually pilots on most TV shows, except for Better Call Saul, that pilot was astounding, but it was kind of already based on something else. But yeah, the pilot was just like, okay, I could definitely see how they would order a series out of this. I've had a couple friends tell me, it's kind of not so great, but I'll leave all that stuff up to their personal preferences. I want to catch up sooner or later.
Yeah.
But yeah, what news do we have on Gotham?
So the newest trailer shows kind of a history of the villains they've encountered in the show so far. They've got Fish Mooney, who it's played by Jada Pinkett Smith. I don't know the comic basis of that character. Mm-hmm. They got the Riddler, Catwoman, other things. But then it ends with something about the biggest joke ever, or whatever. And it's a kid, and he's got red hair, and he looks like he's crying. But then he looks up and he's laughing, and it fades into like Joker laughter.
Mm-hmm. Now I don't know a whole lot about the really, really early past of DC characters. And as far as I know, the DC universe, its canon and its past is a lot more fickle than I would say the Marvel past. So I don't know how many liberties they're going to take with this character. But as far as I know, the Joker was a pretty ordinary dude until he was at least married. I mean, he was an upstanding citizen as far as I was concerned until he was an older man. Well, not old man, but, he was married to and had a wife. So I'm not too sure if there's, like, a comic out there where maybe the Joker starts younger or not.
Well, the thing is, in publication history, the Joker didn't show up until after Batman did. Mm-hmm. So if the Joker is showing up in the series now, it's way too early.
Yes.
But I always viewed the Joker and Batman being near the same age. Mm-hmm. Older felt not like middle-aged men. Mm-hmm. So having this kid be the same age as Bruce Wayne kind of makes me allude to maybe it's an early Joker, or maybe he's affected by some sort of Joker gas, and he's, it's a red herring. Mm-hmm. But, like I said, in the history of DC Comics, the Joker exists, but he did not appear until after Batman had already become public knowledge. And when that, creates a publishing conundrum in and of itself.
Yeah, and this would probably be a little bit easier to explain if we were caught up with the show, but I have a feeling that the show is probably already kind of working around in its own little universe. I think, if I remember right, the Riddler is supposed to be part of Gotham PD, I think, or something along the lines, because I think in the very beginning pilot they showcased a character that could possibly be the Riddler, and it looks like maybe that's how he showed up being. Who knows?
If there are any Gotham watchers out there, tell us.
Yeah, let us know. Fill us in. I mean, we're just two simple men. There's only so many hours of the day. We can't watch everything.
Yeah, I follow the news as much as possible, but like you said, it's hard to get everything. And we only have an hour. We shoot for an hour a day. We don't really technically have as long as we want.
Yeah,
but we shoot for an hour a week. To let you guys know what's up.
Yeah,
so
but
let us know.
Yeah, but either way, speaking specifically to the trailer, I mean, the trailer got me excited. It kind of made me want to start watching the show again. So it looks like that they're really building up this gallery of villains. In the pilot, the last I remembered, Bruce Wayne was just very shy and just, too scared of everything. In the trailer, they really show him. They show him at literally the head of the conference table of Wayne Enterprises. So he's definitely coming to his own, it looks like. So I'd like to see where that came from. So
yeah, maybe after the first season wraps up, we could binge watch it on Netflix or Hulu or whatever.
Yeah,
thing gets it.
Yeah, catch up on it this summer, hopefully.
Yeah. Speaking of things to catch up on, I got some news on X-Men.
We gotta work on our segues.
We really do.
We're just like scrapping these together.
Honestly, there's really nothing related to this next thing other than old people. X-Men Apocalypse is coming out next year. One of the huge lists of comic book movies in 2016, the year of the comic book movie. Mm-hmm. I got some news. Not Ian McKellan. Patrick Stewart was being interviewed this week, and he said that Ian McKellan, the elderly, Magneto, will appear in X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, which, as far as I'm concerned, was not the case. I heard that the Apocalypse movie was gonna kind of do away with, all the older cast. I mean, not older as in elderly, but we weren't gonna be seeing any of the old actors.
The original trilogy,
yes,
per se.
Yeah, the original trilogy actors. So I mean, except for possibly Hugh Jackman, because he's supposed to be an ageless type of character, but...
Right. And that's something, Patrick, he first said that they weren't in it, and now only McKellan is in it as Magneto, not him. Mm-hmm. He's not coming into this movie, which makes me think it's a little weird. We saw Professor X meet his older or younger self in the last movie, so what makes Magneto special? Maybe someone gives him a vision of the future. I would probably presume Apocalypse does. But who knows? On the flip side of this coin, but I'm going to cut you off here. Patrick Stewart could be in the next Wolverine movie, the sequel to The Wolverine.
Man, there's going to be so much history explaining that they need to do, because as far as I know, The Wolverine that took place in Japan, I don't even know where that falls in the timeline. I don't even know if that's been rewritten by the time travel yet, or where exactly that was put. Are they just going to do a separate branch of history with Wolverine and Stewart now?
There's nothing locked in yet because they need to get Apocalypse out of the way first. However, my understanding is that when Wolverine wakes up in Days of Future Past, that will be where the next Wolverine sequel goes forward in time. Because Hugh Jackman's looking older, Patrick Stewart not looking any younger since 1985. But the thing is, yes, the Wolverine has been rewritten, to answer your question.
Oh, okay.
And there's no story yet, but I would like to see Patrick Stewart come back and play Professor Xavier, because that's the first time I actually saw a true comic book character come to life was in that character. Was his portrayal of Professor X. He brought it to life. It couldn't have been a better casting choice in the golden age of comic book movies.
Yeah, I think this is a total anecdotal story. I don't remember the source at all, but I swear I remember hearing Patrick Stewart was talking about him being cast in the very first X-Men film, and someone was asking him about it, if he thought it was a good casting choice, and he was like, well, someone showed me the comic books. I think he said he'd never read it before, he's never read any of the X-Men, and then he saw Charles Xavier on the page, and he was just like, oh wow, I never knew I was in a comic book. So I don't know if that story is true, but I think it's kind of funny.
Yeah. So we got there's X-Men news. Apocalypse starts filming pretty soon to reach that May 2016 release date, so we're gonna have updates on that probably every week coming up here.
Yeah. So so this is, I think I want to see if you can possibly come up with a segue into the next category.
I actually am going to jump ahead one.
Oh, okay.
We're going to go, there's another X-Men movie coming out next year.
Oh, there you go. Hey,
called Deadpool.
Yeah, that's a good segue. That's good.
All right. Deadpool, we got a bunch of news for this. Ryan Reynolds revealed the costume prototype via Instagram. This week. It's in a sepia tone, but they're working on this movie. It's real. It's gonna happen. We're gonna get it next Valentine's Day.
And the speaking to the image itself, the prototype looks very much like it's straight out of the comic book. Doesn't seem like there's any sort of liberties taken with the design so far.
Yeah, it's mostly just the mask. But I'll tell you, it looks a lot like that test footage we saw that leaked, that spurred this movie back into life. You can't kill Deadpool. That's a fact.
Yeah.
You can't kill him in the comics, can't kill him in the movies.
Yeah, and I believe Ryan Reynolds said specifically that leaked test footage is what 100% led to the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, and we got a year, February 12th. We're under a year from that coming out now, which is awesome. But here's a fascinating choice. This ties back into the last one. They've done some more casting for this movie. I don't know if you've heard this.
No, I haven't.
But Daniel Cudmore, who played Colossus in X-Men 3 and Days of Future Past, is coming back as Colossus in Deadpool, which is awesome. This tying Deadpool to this bigger universe, which I didn't think they would ever do again after Wolverine Origins. So he's coming back. They also got Gina Carano. I think that's how you pronounce her name.
I don't know. I do who that is.
She's an MMA fighter. Someone you probably don't want to look at the wrong way if you want a girl to beat your ass. She's coming in as a character called Angel Dust, who is known for her superior strength. So I could definitely see this.
Okay.
And lastly, they've cast T.J. Miller as a mysterious comedic relief role.
I'm not too familiar with T.J. Miller, but does he look like anything like Cable?
No.
Do we have any Cable casting yet?
No, T.J. Miller, he was in Big Hero 6 last.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you've seen that yet.
Yeah, I've seen Big Hero 6.
He's Fred.
Oh, okay.
The guy with the flippy signs.
Uh-huh.
So I can definitely hear his voice. My guess is that he's actually Deadpool's inner voice.
Oh, that's a really, really good idea. And actually, now that you told me who the flippy sign is, now I totally know who T.J. Miller is. I just don't hear his name that often.
Yeah, he's got a very generic name, to be honest. But mysterious comedic relief, is he in the movie? Maybe. Is he Deadpool's fourth wall breaking voice? I don't know. There's so much they could do with this movie that nobody knows. Mm-hmm. But it's getting made, and that's awesome. That's just what I want to throw out there. And
like we said, it's coming out February, Valentine's Day. I'm hoping it's rated R.
It is.
Don't know. Oh, is that official?
It's officially rated R, and it's on a very low budget. So we're going to see some interesting out-of-the-box stuff on this movie.
Return of the rated R film.
Yep. So look forward to that.
Yeah. All right. So now
Speaking of things I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Shield's coming back in 2 weeks. We have 2 episodes of Agent Carter left before Shield picks up the following Tuesday.
Is the premiere of Shield gonna be right after Agent Carter on the same night?
No, it's a week later.
Okay.
So it's the first Tuesday in March, whatever day that is. And I've got a bit of casting updates on that.
Okay.
First up, Adrianne Palicki. She's known as Mockingbird in the show. Has been upgraded to a full-time cast member on the show, not just a recurring guest character.
Okay.
That's awesome. I like Mockingbird. Palicki has been a great addition to the cast, I think. S.H.I.E.L.D. is very much about the women on the team. There's very little men in this team, right? And I'm glad they're bringing her to full-time cast member. You may remember her. She was in the last G.I. Joe movie, G.I. Joe 2.
I don't think that's the best way to remind people.
Definitely
who she is.
not. She was in the Wonder Woman pilot for the TV show that failed.
Yeah,
I didn't pick up.
I think the most well-known thing she was in before S.H.I.E.L.D. would have been Friday Night Lights.
See, I never saw that. So
she was also in John Wick, I believe.
Oh, John Wick is something she's known for as well, and I think that's really helped her out. So that's great. Speaking of women joining the cast, Jaimie Alexander, we know her as Sif in Thor, in Thor 2, is coming back to S.H.I.E.L.D. for another 2 episodes. Yeah.
I mean, I was just thinking about the last time that she was on. I think it makes sense that when you bring someone from Asgard down to Earth, you can kind of have a little bit of fun with it. I remember it being some slightly humorous interactions that she had with some of the characters, but I really want to see Sif in a Thor movie being like super serious. I mean, she's usually just a brutal, just battler. I want to see her taken a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, I think Thor Ragnarok is going to be a very serious and dark movie. Because Ragnarok is the end of all things. So I think we're going to get that. But I think for this time, the last time she was in the film, she kind of served to showcase aliens on Earth, right? Because she was chasing Lorelei, another Asgardian chick. And this one she's going to come with amnesia.
Okay.
So she's going to come with amnesia. I mean, you got to think, in that time, we've not seen Asgard since Thor 2. Loki's in control as Odin. So who knows what kind of mischief he's causing up there.
I mean, I guess we'll just... I don't know. Amnesia is always a really weird thing.
It definitely is. She has memories of the people, but not... There's like a certain time frame she's missing.
Oh, okay.
But at this point, I think they're building up their Inhuman base. Because the Inhumans are going to run parallel to all these stories the second half of the season. And she's going to be able to bring some more information about this Kree experimentation to the table.
Yeah, I guess I could see that. I mean, I think people know by now that, I'm kind of lukewarm when it comes to S.H.I.E.L.D., but, I kind of like them. This is the perfect example of, what good things can come from Marvel having a TV show is they can bring characters in from the movies. So let's just, it's fun to watch. I'll put it that way. It's fun to watch when we get these extra characters brought in. But if I remember right, the episode that she was in, I don't know if it really specifically drove the overall story arc of the series. It kind of seemed like a standalone, like 2-episode arc almost. I don't remember too much coming from it except for just showcasing Sif for 2 episodes.
Well, what we didn't realize at the time is it actually gave us dark Agent Ward, evil Agent Ward, before he was actually quote unquote evil, like outed. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, looking back on that, you can actually get a lot more of that from those episodes, since he was taken over by Lorelai. That's just something I got, on rewatching. You're not going to get it on the first time watching.
Yeah.
I had to rewatch that season again recently to get that.
You poor soul, you had to rewatch that first half.
It's okay. Honestly, it's not as bad if you just go in like looking for a good time. So again, Agent Shield's coming back first weekend of March. People now have superpowers. It's gonna kick up in action and intensity, I think. So just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about Shield as a whole once the season's end. So we'll circle back around to this for sure.
Yeah, definitely, and hopefully they have an Avengers tie-in episode.
Yeah.
So there's no easy way to go to this next one.
No segue. Just go right in.
Yeah. So Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all know Star Wars.
Yeah, that always gets me a little excited hearing that.
Yeah, definitely could have thrown this after Kingsman because I'm stupid. But April 16th, 2015 is a big day, according to some news sites, for Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Most people are pointing to a new trailer.
Okay.
Why are they pointing to this day to a new trailer? Because it's the first day of Star Wars Celebration Anaheim.
Mm-hmm. Now, yeah, that's actually going on not far from me. The only thing that's unfortunate is it's actually a fairly long convention. Things like Comic-Con go on for about 3.5, 4-ish days, depending on what nights you count. But this is a relatively long convention. I want to say it's almost 5 days if I remember looking up the calendar. But alas, I have to go to a wedding in Seattle, so if I get to go, I'll only get to go one day.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, that's the great thing about Star Wars having its own celebrations is they can do whatever they want on those days, and we can always expect news now that movies are coming out. And what's the best way to kick off that celebration for the week? A new trailer.
Yes, that'll get the crowds excited.
Oh, that'll get the hype flowing, man. So much hype. And yeah, if that's the big day, like maybe they'll close with something even bigger.
Now this news must be connected with I had some friends, and I think some rumors popped up on some websites that Star Wars might possibly be seeing a release date change to the summer. I didn't really take much weight to that. I'm guessing that's just totally false.
I definitely think that's hearsay. Bob Iger, the president of Disney, has reiterated time and time again they're not pushing that release date of December.
Oh, okay. I'm guessing this news of this big day on April 16th got construed way out of bounds by some people that it could possibly be the release date of the film, which is crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to be careful what you read on websites and such. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. A new Star Wars trailer is what we need. A full trailer, not a teaser. I want a full trailer. I want to see that text crawl across the screen in space.
We want to see Mark Hamill, Han Solo. We want to see them for sure.
Yeah. So that's really it for news today, other than something else we're going to talk about in here in a minute. But I got some user submitted stuff this week. Actually, I got a couple of questions. Believe it or not, does that make sense?
Yeah,
I love user submitted stuff. Like,
yeah,
I want everyone here to feel free to tweet us or Facebook us or YouTube us questions.
Yeah, we want to hear from you guys for sure.
Yeah. So first thing up, I got asked is, will Daredevil have ties from the Avengers movie? And I want to hear your take on this first, Mike, because I've had a little bit of time to formulate this in my head, and I want to hear your take on this.
Will Daredevil have tie-ins for the Avengers movie? I don't think so. I think that we're gonna.
I'm gonna stop. It's Avengers 1, not Age of Ultron.
Oh, okay. Well, then yes, because what I was about to say is I think we will see kind of what we saw in S.H.I.E.L.D. when they kept saying the Battle of New York, the Battle of New York. We heard it 1,000 times in the first season of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I think we're going to get similar stuff like that happening in Daredevil. Possibly, I think a lot of motivation that the Kingpin is going to have in this first season is going to be with aliens coming into his city. I think maybe he's going to be sending out goons to get some possible weaponry from the aliens. I think it's going to change a lot of the way the city perceives heroes and stuff like that. I think we'll see some tie-in, but I think we're going to see more of a standalone-ish from the cinematic universe. I think we will see this more heavily trying to connect with the other Defenders more than we'll see it trying to connect with the Avengers.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think it's going to tie in directly, but I think the Battle of New York is what set Phase 2 in motion. Mm-hmm. And that's really what I think will drive the crime rate in Hell's Kitchen up, mm-hmm. because there's a struggle for power.
Yeah.
The world as they knew it has been changed, so to mm-hmm. speak, by aliens. And, who better than the Kingpin to be poised to take over all the crime in that area of New York? Mm-hmm. Like you said, he's right. They're going to be sending these people out for Chitauri weaponry mm-hmm. and stuff like that. Or, maybe they'll go after extremists, as an alternative of extremists, maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're going to see a lot of it. You're right. I think as a standalone, it's not going to be tied to this directly. It's not like S.H.I.E.L.D., picking up the pieces of the Battle of New York. Mm-hmm. But I don't think they're going to outright deny it, because if this takes place, where it releases in compared to the cinematic universe, mm-hmm. It's probably about to rock Hell's Kitchen more than it was when the Battle of New York came through and probably destroyed quite a bit.
Yeah, and if people out there aren't too aware, the Defenders is really set up around Hell's Kitchen specifically. Just one specific borough. So I think all of our action is going to be happening very, very with this. I don't want to say tight-knit community, but just within this community is where we're going to be seeing all this action happening.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think Daredevil will have some connection to the Avengers movie, but I don't think it will be tied directly. Now, I want to throw this out there. That my original idea for mm-hmm. Daredevil was he got his powers, his enhanced senses, mm-hmm. from the Battle of New York. Something happened from the alien weaponry, so on and so forth, and it directly affected him. Mm-hmm. But as we know, he got his powers as a child, according mm-hmm. to the Netflix description. Uh-huh. They just shouldn't mess with that. I'm glad they didn't. Uh-huh. I'm glad my imagination was just running wild. So it'll be connected, but not that whole much. Yep, and we're under 2 months away from it, April 10th.
Yeah, get excited.
Yep, and you won't even have to pay your taxes yet if you're running late. So, next question is from a longtime listener, Q is what he goes by on Twitter.
Okay.
So we're going to call him Q.
Okay.
He asked how we feel about Halo, Nightfall, and the Powers shows being more like indie series for these established properties. Mm-hmm. I've seen Halo, Nightfall. I don't think you have yet.
No, I believe I've seen it. Give me a brief summary of the series, because there's only one live action Halo series, right?
Yeah, this is technically falls under. Well, they had a small movie called Forward Unto Dawn a couple years ago.
Do they both have young recruits in it?
Just the first one. That's Forward Unto Dawn.
Okay, then I don't think I've seen Nightfall. Then I've seen Forward Unto Dawn. Then
so Nightfall released with the Master Chief Collection, which mm-hmm. is a whole nother disaster unto itself. I don't want to talk about. And it's a 5-series, 20-minute episode, so it comes out to about a full-length movie mm-hmm. About the Halo ring from Halo 1 that blows up. They're people going there getting elements from it and bringing it back, and the Covenant are using this as bombs to affect humans. And so like this military team has to go in and get this, stop these people from stealing these elements and blow up that section of the ring that's left. But it kind of like is a horror film at that point once they get to the ring, because there's stuff they didn't even imagine would be there. So
was it good? That's what I think that's what we want to know.
I don't know how to feel about this. Is that's the worst part of it. I think if I'd watched it as a movie, one big section, I would have enjoyed it more. However, the characters they put in this film were so exaggerated versions of stereotyped characters already. I didn't even I just didn't care. And that nothing could be worse about a show than not caring about the characters.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say specifically about this series. So, I thought Forward Unto Dawn
was it good or not?
I'm pretty decent.
It was. It's not bad, but it's not the best thing I would ever say I watched.
Yeah, I mean, Unto Dawn had some good production value and everything, but I don't know if I was more surprised by that. It was entertaining. Like I said, I haven't seen Nightfall. I think the Halo universe as a whole is the most confusing thing. I mean, I can't keep up with it. I mean, you might have a little better hold on it, but I specifically remember one day when I had some free time, I went to like a Halo Wikipedia, and I was on there for like hours just trying to comprehend what's going on in this series. So I don't know.
Yeah, Halo's a rich universe. They have this thing called the Halo Story Bible. And it has all the dates and events that have happened through the history of this Halo universe. I would liken it to Star Wars: The Expanded Universe before they destroyed that. They know all this stuff that went on thousands and millions of years ago until thousands of years into the future. And we play the Master Chief section of that in most of the games. The problem with this is it had Ridley Scott as a producer, so you would think, oh, he did the Aliens and all these other great movies, but I think it fell short again based on the writing. So I think indie things can be great once you're not trying to cash in on it and you actually put some time and energy into it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, just with the word indie in general. Usually indie means that you're not going to have these super powerful purse strings when it comes to the budget of the film or the series. We're going to see with the show Powers, being produced basically by PlayStation or Sony, we're going to see kind of how they deal with those problems. We talked about Powers in a previous episode before, but we know the source material is good. We'll just have to see how it's executed, and if it gets enough distribution. If Powers is good, are people gonna have enough platforms, enough venues to go watch it? I think indie anything is always good. Indie video games, indie movies, indie TV shows, all of those things are always good. It just comes down to if it actually is good. It's good to have indie, but it's not always good to watch indie.
I think you're striking a good point there. Is that the Halo stuff was made because Halo was popular. The Power show is being made because somebody likes powers. Like, and superhero genres are popular, but it's not like Powers doesn't have anything to ride on. There's no coattails. So I think that makes it more of a true indie series than Nightfall ever could have been.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think it will, without having a reputation before it will come, and we will probably be more receptive to it if it's done right. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, I think these user submitted questions are really great. If any of you want to ask us any questions, just reach out to us. You can reach out to us on Twitter. We have a contact form on our website, superheroslate.com. Just go there and drop us a line. We'll talk about anything you guys want to hear about.
Definitely. Also, ask us questions on our YouTube channel. I would like to see some more YouTube views. It's we prefer you to subscribe on iTunes, but YouTube's a very social channel.
I mean, if you have the ability to make a YouTube comment on any YouTube video that's just not a pile of literal liquid diarrhea, like every YouTube comment is, like you're making the internet a better place.
Yeah,
so.
I'm gonna stop Mike right there because I want someone to say first on this video. I want us to be that popular where people want to comment first.
Oh man, YouTube comments are just the worst.
Yeah. So you know what's not the worst?
Here we go. I like
this. This is the big moment. Spider-Man and Marvel are one and the same now.
Oh my God.
In the movie universe.
Oh man, I hope everyone stuck around to the end of the show for this because we saved literally the best for last. This news is, I mean, I don't want to say out of left field, but it was still a freaking surprise.
Yeah, we talked about it. I think in episode 2 or 3, we mentioned it briefly in passing that the leaked emails were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, there was no news, nothing official. We all brushed it off. It was like, just, you know, news stirring shit up again.
Mm-hmm.
Then I woke up in the morning at, 7 in the morning. My girlfriend's like, hey, Spider-Man's going back to Marvel. I'm like, what? Don't tease me with this.
Yeah,
this is not funny.
Yeah, it's just like, what are you looking at? What feeds are you reading?
Yeah, and then my phone has been blown up from people telling me, and I'm like, well, something must have happened. I need to get on the internet immediately.
Yeah. So I think what we do is we talk about the specifics. What exactly is happening right now? Because I know all this week I've been hearing so many people are excited, but they don't really know the extent of the deal or what specifically is in the deal. They're just like, oh, we get to see Spider-Man with Captain America now. Herp-a-derp-a-derp-a-derp. I'm excited. What you should be, but there's some specifics in this deal that need to be narrowed down.
Exactly. There was so much excitement that I think a lot of rumors got out of control. Mm-hmm. So we're going to do rumor cleanup.
Yeah, let's do it.
First things first. Marvel did not buy Spider-Man.
No,
I want to set that out right. Sony still owns Spider-Man.
Yeah, they own the distribution. They own the production rights. They have final creative say. They totally still own Spider-Man.
Definitely, it's kind of like Marvel's leasing the character.
Mm-hmm.
But Kevin Feige. Yeah.
I was just going to say that's a really good way to put it. It's like they're leasing a car. They're leasing the Spider-Man car from Sony.
Exactly. And Kevin Feige is, in charge of, helping Spider-Man, but he's not getting paid extra for it. Mm-hmm. He's not taking a cut of this. I don't know if Marvel even gets a cut of it from the Solo movie, but there's a lot of intricate parts moving there in the business world that are gonna make sure that, they're not overlapping. They're not going to get into it later because Sony's still making money from Spider-Man, and Marvel will when he's in Marvel's movies.
Yeah. So more specifically, what we got going down here is it's kind of like a team up between Sony and a team up between Marvel. So Sony is still continuing making Spider-Man movies, but Marvel basically gets the chance to put Spider-Man in one of their films. Now, it's not going to be a standalone Marvel film. Marvel Studios cannot make a Spider-Man movie. They can't come out in 2018 with Spectacular Spider-Man with a movie on his own. He can be in the Avengers. He can be in like a team-up film, but he is basically an addition to the film. He's not the center.
Definitely. On that, Spider-Man gets his first Marvel Cinematic solo movie in July 28th, 2017.
Which is a Sony movie.
It's still Sony, but it's related to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He will live in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which takes the place of Thor Ragnarok, I believe. Mm-hmm. So it pushed Thor and all the other Phase 3 movies, except for the Avengers, back one release period.
Yeah, and I think right here is where things start to get confusing because people are curious, what's going on with Andrew Garfield, what's going on with the previous Amazing Spider-Man films, and what it sounds like is they're done. It sounds like it's official. That whole storyline, that whole arc is just dead. It's gone.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting to see. Mark Webb is out as director.
Which I've been saying for a long time now needs to happen.
Yep. Andrew Garfield is out as actor. They're going to recast him. They're looking for high school era Spider-Man to bring him in for this movie. So, that's a bit of news. I've kind of talked more about that this week than anything else with anybody.
Yeah,
what happened to Andrew Garfield?
Yeah, well, I mean, and I think we need to watch. I don't think we need to even say he's not being recast, because it's a totally new film. Like, being recast kind of sounds like they might be continuing with the arc. Like, it's totally dead. They're basically rebooting Spider-Man once again. This is the second reboot. Who would have known it would have came so quickly?
Yeah, definitely. Something else is, people are saying that Spider-Man will appear in Civil War. That's not necessarily true.
I kind of thought that was official.
That was the original thought. They want to put him into the Civil War, as we read. But it's not like the thing is, we have Black Panther already confirmed for that. So is this going to take Black Panther out and replace him with Spider-Man?
Yeah, well, I believe we talked about on a previous episode when that they had two scripts floating around for this movie. One with Spider-Man in it and one with not. So who knows?
That's actually the first I've heard of this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've never heard. I've never heard of actually any script for these movies yet.
Oh,
other than that, Black Panther was the catalyst for this. But if they say he shows up in Civil War, which is a year from now, they're gonna have to cast him pretty soon because that production's getting underway. Yeah,
and who knows how much they want to put him in. I mean, this is just in general. This is a really big shakeup to the universe. Spider-Man is really important character to nearly every major event in the Marvel Universe. He's always there. And to what extent do they try to cram him in there at the last second just to say they have Spider-Man in it? And when they should they actually insert him into the movies? Like, when does he actually need to show up? Because, I mean, do we want Spider-Man in Civil War just for the sake that we can say he's in there, even if maybe it's not executed the best? Who knows?
Yeah. It could just be as simple as a post-credit scene.
Now,
to be frank, I mean, I wouldn't want to see that, but that could be. Oh, he's in the movie. He's in the post-credit scene as well.
Yeah, and then I think the other big thing we need to bring up is it sounds like there's going to be two Spider-Mans or Spider-Men. It sounds like Marvel gets their own Spider-Man, and it sounds like Sony gets their that's the thing that's really confusing.
That's not true at all. There's only going to be one Spider-Man going forward.
Okay, see that just shows you the whirlwind of news that happened last week. There was tons of people out there clamoring and shouting for the rooftops for a Miles Morales. People are saying no, it's gonna be Peter Parker. I thought there was supposed to be both. I thought Marvel was gonna get Miles and Sony was gonna get Peter Parker. So, I mean, this is just crazy. I think overall, I am leaning towards this is very, very good news, but I am a little worried.
What are you worried about? I want to know that, because I've heard a little worry, but 99% has been like, this can't be bad for anybody.
All right, so this is why I'm worried. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer or anything, but when I imagined Spider-Man returning to Marvel, I imagined it all goes to Marvel. I think the biggest fear that you could pull from this is Sony still has 100% creative control. So, I mean, I don't think they'll do anything to harm the franchise, especially since Kevin Feige is going to be overproducing or executive producing. He's basically going to be helping out Sony not make a shitty Spider-Man movie, which is going to be great. But, it still makes me worried that this studio, which has proved that they shit the bed with this other reboot of the film, that maybe they can't be trusted with total creative control. I was kind of hoping once Phase 3 was done, we'd see the rebirth of Spider-Man in Phase 4 with his own movies and his own universe connected to these past events of all these other movies. I mean, it's not exactly what I wanted. which is why I'm disappointed. But I mean, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, so I'm super stoked that I can see Spider-Man palling around with Captain America, with Hulk, with Tony Stark. I mean, that's just going to be great. I mean, it's going to be awesome.
I think most of the fact that it was ruined, it comes from the producers, Avi Arad and Matt Tolmach. Well, they've now been downgraded in this deal to executive producers, which means nothing. In this deal, there are so many details going on. Again, like you said, that it's easy to get confused. So Sony is making the Spider-Man, meaning they're going to front a lot of the costs, and Marvel's going to help too. But the deal is he's going to be the Spider-Man going forward. And what this means to me is that maybe Marvel's moving to ultimately buy Sony Pictures if it comes up for sale. And own Spider-Man later, because Sony Pictures, there's always been rumors of it's going up in smoke.
Man, this is the first time I've heard anyone bring up the possibility of just buying the studio outright.
And Disney has the money. Sony Pictures owns, I think they own James Bond movies. They have a lot going on, but not enough to keep them above water, but maybe eventually one day Disney just buys it, and this is maybe the first step to kind of not bridging a gap or a wound, but bringing them together one step closer to that.
Man, only Disney could just be like, oh, we can't buy Spider-Man back, let's just buy the whole freaking studio, and then they don't have a choice. That's pretty baller if you ask me.
Yeah. Something also is fun to point out, Marvel owns the merchandising rights to Spider-Man. And that's why Sony would probably have never made this deal if they still had the merchandising rights, because that would help them make their money back. Because a poor performing movie can be saved by strong merchandise sales.
That's true.
And Spider-Man is one of the biggest brands out there, but Marvel still own that. So this is kind of like a quid pro quo transaction, which is both parties feeling benefits for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great move for Sony. This is perfect for them. This is what they need. They still get to make their Spider-Man movies. They still get to rake in the dough, but they actually get helped with the bump from the Marvel Universe. And it's going to be good news for them.
Yeah. Something else, you mentioned something, Miles Morales or regular Spider-Man, Peter Parker. My guess, and this is, again, my theoretical, they're going to put Peter Parker in this. They got to start with Peter Parker. Because that's the one we know. But if Sony plans to do another trilogy with Marvel, after Phase 3 is over, they're hoping Spider-Man's going to pick up. Spider-Man 2 will probably be the first Phase 4 movie. Other than, I don't know how Inhumans works, since that's been pushed beyond Infinity War now. But the first Phase 4 movie, probably Spider-Man 2. This solves a Robert Downey Jr. dilemma. They have Spider-Man, right? They want Spider-Man. Everyone's going to go watch Spider-Man. We all watched Amazing Spider-Man 2, and that sucked ass. Spider-Man 3 made a lot of money, even though it sucked. But without Robert Downey Jr. and his contract ending with Infinity War, they can pick up with Spider-Man afterwards. And at the end of his trilogy, pick up a Miles Morales character. Spider-Man 3, he passes on the torch to this new Spider-Man and set off another trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fun to talk about the far future when it comes to this Marvel universe, because we're going to be seeing lots of that, mantle taking over. I'm still a strong believer that Thanos is going to kill Captain America, and we're going to see the end of that actor. Why can't I think of his name? Chris Evans, yeah. It was right on the tip of my tongue. I just couldn't get it out. But yeah, I think Chris Evans is going to be done after Phase 3. And, I think it's important. This is going to sound horrible, but I think it's important to kill off a character, because it just gives you so much more weight to the films, and it lets you know that anything can happen. If they'll kill Steve Rogers, no one's safe. And it's already kind of set up in the history of the comics that the mantle is taken up by someone else. So, maybe, Peter Parker kicks the bucket in the Ultimate Universe. Maybe Miles Morales will have his opportunity when that happens.
Yeah, I mean, Miles came about because of the death of Spider-Man. And that's a book I actually was able to pick up recently called Ultimate Fallout number 4. It's the first appearance of Miles Morales, which deals with Spider-Man dying. But just going back to the Sony Spider-Man deal, like, this opens up the door for a lot of good things. And something I want to note is that Fox is going to watch this deal go down, and they're going to see how that helps Sony or maybe hurts them. I'm pretty optimistic here. Because if Fantastic Four fails, they might end up leasing Fantastic Four back to Marvel. I'm serious. Like, I mean, I'm not being optimistic, but if it bombs, like, this deal may help everybody.
Yeah, I just think I think the whole scenario is just humorous because originally Marvel basically leased these characters to these other studios so they could, fight bankruptcy. But now the same studios have the rights, they're leasing it back to Marvel. It's just like, what is going on? I don't know. We live in a great time. Yeah, but I think the best way to summarize this whole thing is Spider-Man is officially in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Sony Marvel Spider-Man Cinematic Universe is gone. So basically, Sony is going to be making money off this deal. Marvel gets Spider-Man back. And yeah, that's how things are going down.
Definitely. Expect to see him, like you said, in Civil War in some fashion. We will be following the casting of this character very carefully.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we're going to be hearing stuff about little nuggets of this deal every week.
And the biggest thing is the next movie will not be an origin story, so don't worry, you won't have to see him being bit by a spider again.
How many times does Uncle Ben have to die?
Not enough. Not enough.
Oh man, but yeah, I think this is a great way to tie off the end of this episode.
Definitely, we're going to end it on another exciting bit of news this week, and I look forward to what this week brings us.
Oh yeah,
because it seems everyone's listening to our shows because every time we say something, it comes true in real life.
This is why you guys need to listen. We are predicting the future.
Definitely. Superhero Slate. So if someone wants to hear your predictions for the future, Mike, where do they hear that at?
Oh man, working on the segues. I like it. All right. Well, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mike Royer Design. You can follow some of my other work at pickledcomics.com. I'll actually be putting some new stuff up there this week. I got a new comic coming out probably on Monday or Tuesday. Woo. And then I got a new blog coming maybe towards the latter half of the week. But yeah, you can check out some of my stuff that I think is funny over there.
Yeah, I like following Mike. I look forward to his comics on Pickled Comics. I'm probably his biggest fan.
Aw, you're so sweet.
I have a DAP mask shirt that Mike did last year, and I wore it when I met Stan Lee, just for Mike. I have a picture of Stan Lee, me, and DAP mask shirt that Mike made.
Yeah, just a little green shirt with a dinosaur on it. I'm actually looking at maybe about 7 of them that I still have here in my home. Maybe I'll find a way to give those away. Maybe we can do like a giveaway on the podcast.
It's a great shirt. You can follow me at Twitter at Valdan, Valdan, on Comic UI or Nerd Traffic. That picture's up at least on all 3 of those websites. Me and Stan Lee just chillaxing, hanging out.
Oh man. Quick public service announcement before we close out the show. If anyone is looking to go to San Diego Comic-Con this year, open registration, I do believe, is this Saturday coming up. So if you listen to this show when it comes out brand new, get ready. Hopefully you have your member IDs already, because I think the ship has sailed for creating those already, which you need to get your badges, your tickets for the event. But I'm crossing my fingers. I'm going to be crossing my toes. I'm going to be crossing everything I can to give myself luck to get these tickets, because I can't miss Comic-Con.
We got a big show planned. Oh, actually, I want to add to that. Comic UI was officially accepted as a press member for C2E2.
Ooh, awesome.
Yesterday or Friday. Really big news. That was really exciting for me. I'm looking forward to it. And before we finally send off, Mike, did you get anything superhero related for Valentine's Day?
Ooh, I did. My lovely Valentine, my wife, got me some really, really, really good books. Specifically, she got me the first trade of Miss Marvel, which is the new reboot of the character, which looks pretty exciting. I've been looking to read that. She also got me the newest volume of Saga, which is Brian K. Vaughan. It's a really great series. I recommend everyone read that series. And what else? Oh, I got this crazy book that has to do with like some sort of evil beard. It's some sort of graphic novel. The art on the inside looks beautiful, but yeah, it's good to have a Valentine that understands your passion for the nerds, the nerdiness.
It's true. I actually received the first issue of Fantastic Four with Black Bolt on the cover.
Oh, nice.
So I think it's Fantastic Four number 46.
Oh, so nice.
Pretty sweet. And a copy of The Blacklist on Blu-ray. Which is essentially Ultron the series, because James Spader in Blacklist is terrifying, and he will be that Ultron.
The prequel.
Yeah,
the prequel to Ultron.
Yeah, so I just want to throw it out there, ask you before we dropped off, because, holidays and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, treat your Valentines with love, and they'll return it.
Yes, definitely. So thank you for listening to Superhero Slate.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys next week. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.